Charbel, St. Charbel McClough has become quite popular in recent times, even in the West. He is known to be a great miracle worker. Miracles happened when he was alive, but they multiplied greatly after his death. The famous oil oozing from his body has done miracles ever since. He has even appeared after his death on film. He can be invoked on this, his day, and on any other day. And his spirituality can be taken on board, for he was coherent. He could easily have stayed in the world. He was very useful to his family and could easily have married. But the Lord pulled him towards the desert, and at night he trudged, knocked at the door of the monastery, and he was admitted, escaping thus in one night all his moorings, and he was faithful. In the Maronite Church they had that tradition of the eremitic life inbuilt in the monastic structure, but it had to happen with permission and after a long probation. A hermit in the hermitage died, and it was providential. It was the right time for him to become a hermit himself up on the mountain. A miracle indicated the divine will at that point. His superior had asked him to do some fairly urgent work, which meant actually, and with permission, working at night. And it demanded also, obviously, a lamp so as to be able to write in the dark. But there was no more oil in his lamp, and he asked those in the service there in the kitchen area for oil. And one of them, who gave testimony to the miracle afterwards, he was at the service of the monastery as a young man, played a bit of a practical joke and put just water in the oil, or rather in the lamp, instead of oil. At night he was flabbergasted when he saw light coming through the chink under the door of the cell of the holy monk. The superior was alerted. He came in and he saw this ongoing miracle of the lamp burning on pure water. And so it was that he realized the Lord was wanting this sacrifice of the holy monk from the cenobium to the purely gratuitous life of prayer and contemplation on the mountain, where things were very austere. The only consolation of St. Charbel was the Blessed Sacrament, to which he had a great devotion. Indeed, it seems that he was trying to celebrate when his last physical weakness took him. I believe he tried even twice in the same day, possibly even 3 times, but he couldn't get through. And his glory was immediate. That is to say, the miracles that came. It was picked up by St. Paul VI, who saw the significance of this figure of Eastern Rite. And at the end of the Second Vatican Council, he was placed on the altars, and by now he is well known in the West. John Paul II was one of those who knew a bit about the Eastern culture, given the bridge country that he came from, Poland. Did insist that the Church learn to breathe again with her 2 lungs. The Eastern Church is serene in its praise, its divine liturgy, and also in its monastic life, which is not contaminated by the efficiency that we have in our own which seems to somehow take over sometimes the peace of long hours of liturgy and contemplation in the West. The proof is that we easily prune on prayer so that the day may be well spent in making things function. Not everywhere, but the temptation is there, we know too well. The East is slow to change, and we need the East to put a brake on us in the West. Some years ago, it hit me that only one thing was necessary. As the Lord said to St. Paul, "My grace is sufficient for thee." There is but oneness in these many things that pull toward a better than the last. And in the several sirens, one voice sings the self-same song heard often where thou wast. O beauty of simplicity before, in utter nudity, alone, alone, with this our naked soul, the bed of yore, who had no one but thee, its gaze made one. We look upon too many things below the sphere of where thou art. We know too well to be made ignorant enough to know the unlearning that in utterness doth yell for something, but for something. For in this void's truth there is but hell. There is but bliss.